I came here when I was 24 years old, and it's pretty hard to adapt to a new country and everything new. So, but I'm pretty lucky. I'm pretty lucky that I made it. So finding home is a journey that I've been longing for. Because after the Vietnam War ended in 1975, my family wandered from town to town because I'm from South Vietnam, and also with American, we are the lost side. And the new regime, the new government really put a full revenge on us. So we always try to escape unsuccessfully. But finally we came here, and to me home is very abstract. Home is to me where you feel yourself happy, confident, and where you feel like being trusted by people around you. So home to me, not the country when you're born, a place that you're born, but home is, like I say, that's where you feel you belong to. Home is an exhibition that the first time I put together three-dimensional objects, not only photography. I'm a photographer and I came to art through photography. But in this show, for the past 3 years, I have been working on found objects, and most of the work here is still based in photography or historical image. So this exhibition is to me like a quest to continue to find home. So home, if you look at the artwork, that kind of like syntax or like Vilcek, the curator, he wrote in the essay, the work have two colors, red and yellow, represent for the divided ideology in Vietnam. Yellow belong to the South and red belong to North communists. The work home also like Ho Chi Minh and me, like myself. And I use a lot of that image into my work, like just me, a Vietnamese, but from different side you can see me different, like I'm your ally or your enemy. So that represents for the Vietnamese as well. Still the war ended, but Vietnamese still so divided over ideology. Growing up in Vietnam, by the time, it's quite a dark society, everything's so confused. I was confused because of too many doctrines, propaganda. My basic instinct is to avoid all of them if I could, and I become a very lost person. I found myself wandering in the remote area, away from family and everything, become a loner. My family call me a mute because I don't talk much when I was young. I like to write a lot. So actually I wrote a lot of poetry when I was young, and I published a couple, when I came here to the US. And then my dad were released from the education camp. It's kind of like the jail term for the communist, to the people who work for South Vietnam government. And the US government allowed us to come here. First year in the US, I found myself like a little boy in a candy store. I pick up everything that I can, from music and medicine, art, everything. And then I become a photographer, work for local Vietnamese newspaper, and I love it. But I have so many majors because before I really become an artist, too many Vietnamese art is not a major. My family still thinking I'm not having a job. But I'm pretty happy to be the artist. I be able to talk to whatever I want to say. I began in like commercial photographer and working for people, and lately I just try to get away from that. I want to do whatever I want to say without many bias, many influence from things that been taught or been told. So I'll be able to set aside and looking back, and I want to see things from different perspective, not from the government, not from TV, media, not from the history book, because everything I believe based on bias and only one perspective. I kind of like to, David Reisman once said that we tend to follow a traditional direct or the direct, but I think inner direct is more important. Like as an adult, you should be able to find out what the truth is. So since then, I create work based on not from my family history and anything, but I think what's the best for me to say, to speak about myself, my story through my art without any judgment. I would say that I hope my work is more global, to share with the people who have a similar history. The first time I moved away from photography, two-dimensional. I did photography. I still love doing film. I still want to go to darkroom and go to whole analog process. It's kind of me not like conservative, but I believe in terms of imagery, you should know the history of the medium. So most of my work like still shoot with view camera 4x5 or 8x10 and process in digital. And then I'm not happy with the jet photography, so I start to draw. That happened 3 years ago when I have an exhibit in California and people protest my work. The reason is my work like to them unsolid and lacking of clarity. Not taking side. So some people start to destroy my work by spray paint on my print. A cool thing is, some of my friends say now your work look even better. It's become mixed media. So I have a show in LA 2 years ago, a solo show, and then I allow people to come to my show and do whatever you want. You can sketch, you can spray paint. At the end, we put all the work together and burn them. So I say, now it's gone. It's just the only thing that you remember, just memory. So this show kind of different. This show kind of set apart from all the work that I've done before. I really enjoy like making slower work right now. Some work take 2-3 years. I have to find location, right people. This is the first time I would say involved with performing, not only photography. So many hours makeup to change myself into different character that I want to perform, or I want to put myself in that shoe and see feeling. The people that I use or the image that I use in my work been used by both sides in Vietnam conflict. People either love it or hate it. So Vietnamese always taking side. And I'm the one that not taking side. I try to find a gray area in between like red and yellow. And then I fascinated with the found object or already made art, stuff like Duchamp and Picasso, like the car door in this exhibition. This one I found. Sometimes we tend to ignore things that are around us, but beautiful. We look for something that really far away, but forget the thing around us was so beautiful too. So lately I started to create things from the founding object. Every exhibitions, I made a work for particular for that show, and then mostly I made a new work for a different show. I want to move on. I think the work is done. I want to do something new, or it's still me. It's still my work. I still speak the same thing. I still to create and say whatever I want to say, but a different version. It's more evolved. It's more collaborate. It's more respond to the current political or social issue that we are dealing with today. Of course, my work still lay heavily on my history, the Vietnam conflict, but I see the Vietnam conflict or Iraq, Afghanistan, or elsewhere in the world the same. So to me, every conflict is the same. It's injustice, innocent people or innocent loss, and who really behind, who benefit from every conflict. I would love to see the people who come here enjoy the show. It's heavy. Again, it's everything based on conflict or war. It's always heavy, always hard to swallow. We have to realize that there's conflict around the world and still happen and will be happen. So what I hope from the people who come to my show to see the work and understand more about the history of one people. The work I put up in this show, I change the message. As you see a series of being them, I borrow historical image. I really distort them. I change them into something I want. Less killing, more humanized. Lately, Buddhism may taken big part of my life. So I think everything have like consequences. The thing that what you're doing right now is a consequence of what you did in, you have done. I hope people, especially the Vietnamese or Vietnamese Americans, even the war ended almost 40 years ago. The image still fresh with the Vietnamese. It's just 1 or 2 generations. It's really hard to forget. And Vietnamese still are very divided based on ideology. But what's the ideology? What ideology better than the other? So to look at things from different sides and think that the best is we still alive. The best, nothing better than you still alive. You enjoy the moment. So that I want to say. You look at the image, you see what we have done to each other, and then realize that everything will gone by very fast. What we have now is try to be happier. Try to, if you can, try to create any situation that harm other people, or if you really have a reason to hate the people, make it smaller. And I think it's smaller and then easy to forget. Even I understand a lot of Americans involved in Vietnam in 1960s, 70s. A lot of Vietnamese tried to escape Vietnam after the war, 1970 to 80 and 90s. A lot of people lost, million people lost. So that's a big thing, but I do hope move on. Like I say, look at the history. It's gone by very fast. So just enjoy the present and do anything that make you happy. made your family happy. That's more important than anything else.